I was born in Colombia in 1997 on the Caribbean coast in the city of Barranquilla. As far as we know, generations of my family have lived in Colombia, but I believe we are mestizo, a mix of Spanish and indigenous descent. I also believe I have some French and Italian ancestry. I do not remember my time living in Colombia, but until the age of 2, I was raised in between Barranquilla and Santa Marta. I was surrounded by a large and loving network of family and friends. My dad worked as a commercial diver. At the time, he was working in the River Magdalena, salvaging army boats sunk by Marxist guerrilla groups. Colombia was embattled in a brutal civil war with these groups during this time. The FARC was the main revolutionary army and they were responsible for countless murders, kidnappings, and bombings. The FARC was known to be active in the area where my dad worked, and eventually he and his company began receiving death threats to cease their salvation operation. My dad began fearing for his and our lives, and so, like millions of displaced Colombians and thousands who fled abroad, we too decided we should leave the country. My family had never thought they would leave Colombia, but when this occurred, my dad took a friend's advice and went to work with him in oil rigs by Houston, Texas in the year 2000. We got to the United States on a tourist visa, and then shortly after applied for political asylum. It was a rigorous and grueling 10-month process, but eventually we were granted asylum. At first, life for my family was hard in the United States. They left everything and everyone they knew to be in a foreign land they never expected to be living in. Neither of my parents knew any English, so it was tough getting around, and it was near impossible for my mom to find a job. Our large network of friends and family shrunk, and we were left all alone. For myself, I first learned to speak English in Houston. I attended my first school in Houston. My first memories were in Houston. Eventually, we grew accustomed to living in the States, and in 2004, my dad got an exciting offer to work in Miami. We knew there was a massive Colombian community living in Miami, many who probably have the same stories as us. We also had some distant relatives living there. We readily packed our bags and made the move to Miami. It was an exciting new start. Right away, we took to the culture and the tight knit feeling of our new community. I quickly grew accustomed to living in Miami, and my formative years were based there. At home, my mom kept a very typical Colombian household. We spoke Spanish at home. We ate home cooked Colombian meals like ajiaco and arroz con coco. And my mom raised my brother and I in an old school Colombian parenting style. Regardless, I never felt connected to my Colombian roots. I had no recollection of living anywhere else but the United States. I fully bought into the American culture and the lifestyle. I truly believed I was American. I fully rejected my Colombian past. In 2013, after waiting 11 years, we were finally granted American citizenship. After obtaining citizenship, I took 2 trips back to Colombia, a family trip in 2014 and a backpacking trip in 2016. These visits back to my country reconnected me with my Colombian roots. I learned about the long and complex history of my country. I fell in love with the landscapes, the culture, the people, the music, the food, and the architecture. I felt proud to be Colombian and began identifying my roots as essential to my identity. I realized how great it is to be Colombian and how truly distasteful the stereotype of Colombians being drug traffickers and cocaine addicts really is. We have a brutal and hard past, but Colombia and Colombians are so much more than that, and we strive to fix our country's downfalls. After a long and hard road to establish ourselves in this country, my family is extremely grateful that they were forced to make the move here. My mom, she managed to start her own Spanish tutoring company, and my brother recently graduated with a master's in architecture. We still keep close ties to our family back home, despite the millions of miles of separation, and we provide for them in the form of monthly remittances. It might have been difficult, but living here has opened up our world and granted us so many opportunities. That is the story of how we became Colombian Americans.